Hello and welcome. I'm Master Lama Rasaji, and here is the Friday version, TGIF version of Rasaji Speaks. And this is where some people in America kind of go crazy, and some of the salespeople kind of go crazy. It's referred to as Black Friday. Lamaji wanted the experience. About 15 years ago, my wife was working in retail. I wanted to spend more time with her, but I wanted to also feel what she felt. Wow, what an experience. I was working with Sears and Roebuck in the electronic area. Thousands of people came through that day, and I watched things leave the shelf so fast. But today, we want to talk about something that's more special than that. We want to talk about the nativity within, the birthing of the Christ light within with our Tai Chi Gung. Think about that, right? The nativity within, right? Because in a sense, when we look at our nativities that we put out for Christmas now, we see Joseph kneeling. We see now Mary kneeling. And typically it's a couple of days after the birth of Jesus, and he's already in the manger. And that represents what? Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son. As a model, as a maturation, a focal point of the Trinity. Now, we know that Joseph is not God the Father, but in the East, a lot of people would make reference to Mary as that manifestation of the Holy Spirit. How would the Holy Spirit make her pregnant with this baby? But you can't help being a spiritual person, especially if Jesus has impacted your life like he has Lamaji's tremendously over the years, and not think about that when you glance at the nativity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Brahm, Vishnu, and Shiva, their interpretation of the Holy Trinity. But the nativity lives inside of us, yes? As the living Trinity lives inside of us. Yes, yes, yes. It's very magical. And that's why when you see a nativity, any nativity on the outside, and there's some really beautiful ones now that are out there. I mean, I lived in New York City for 5 years. I probably visited New York City another 10 or 20 years during Christmas time in my life. And some of the most beautiful nativities would be in the retail windows. Some pure crystal, some, jade, just some with beautiful wood carvings. But I know that when I saw that, it reminded me of the nativity inside of me. That the Christ child, Mary, and who Joseph was. A lot of people never talk about Joseph. Was never a more honorable human being on the planet than Joseph. Joseph, too, had to have faith to understand that this woman who had not yet laid down with him was pregnant. I mean, can you imagine what you were asking a Hebrew man, a pious Hebrew man, to believe that that was possible? I mean, man, were we stretching his faith just a little bit? Remember, back then, they wouldn't hesitate if they thought a woman committed adultery to stone her. They wouldn't hesitate to do that. With the craziness going on in the Middle East today, I don't know that they've made a whole heck of a lot of progress. There's a lot of them that are trying to take the world backwards. They're trying to take the world backwards here. That's right. Because when certain teachings don't work out, they give no life force, like socialism and communism. The only way they continue to grow, they have to clone themselves. Well, God doesn't create clones, man does. And there's no soul and spirit in a clone. But when the living nativity arises in your heart and comes to new birth, buddy howdy, that's some life force. That's the grace. What it has done for me over the years, it's reminded me how special Jesus is to me, how special Mary is to me, and how honorable and selfless service that Joseph was. He guided a caravan for 16 years so that his son, which would be God's oldest child, right, could get the training that he needed to reveal to the world who he really was and what he came to do. And he came to redeem, maybe not always in the way the church says it is, but he came to give us hope and inspiration that if we should fall short of the word and the penance to come, renew unto repentance is what St. Paul tells us. Renew unto repentance. In other words, get back to the sadhanas. Get back to your spiritual exercise, your spiritual purification. I hope you enjoyed the theme this week of the Nativity, of Advent, and how it all parallels East and West. I hope this Advent season that you approach it more consciously than you ever have before, and that you appreciate the living Christ and the living nativity, and the true meaning of Advent goes out in your heart, and you share with people unselfishly, as Joseph did, about the circle of chi. Might consider a membership gift. Think about it, for someone you care about and love. What better gift to give someone a year of the circle of chi training? Can you imagine a gift that gives all year round? It's pretty powerful when you think of it. Won't you join us? Help us transform this planet into appreciating who Jesus really was, the significance of his birth. And in the spring, when we all experience Lent, what he did here and what this stood for. I think it's time for the world to know the truth. How about you? They're only going to know that truth through us, on earth, through us, as it is in Abba's heaven, on earth, through us, as it is in Abba's heaven. Barak Abishai, may the blessings be to you and to your glorious family. Come all you faithful, come all you faithful. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend.